Hey guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to talk about my luxury wish list for 2022, which is not that long. And I'm also going to talk about some of my goals and intentions for this year. I also wanted to share with you a vision board that I made in January of 2020. I signed up for a vision board workshop and I was so excited, and I was like, yeah, let's plan 2020. It's gonna be amazing. And as you can see, it's not that great, just like 2020. So let's see, what did I put on here? They had just like a bunch of magazines, which I don't recommend because magazines don't have a lot of great pictures to choose from. The internet does though. So you just go online and find something and print it out, which is what I did for this year. But back in 2020, I was like, let's see, best summer ever. Best summer ever. It wasn't really the best summer ever. I thought, oh, I'm gonna spend so much time with my kids. And I definitely did spend so much time with my kids in 2020. So much time, so much time. So many summer plans, and I was gonna do yoga and go to yoga class, and I mean, I did go to yoga class for a couple months. Anyway, so that was my first time making a vision board, and I didn't do it for last year because last year I was like, I don't even know what's gonna happen, so I'm not gonna do this again. But this year, I went ahead and created a vision board, which is hanging up on the wall in my office, and I set some goals. And I really put some thought into it, and so I'm going to share that with you. First, I'm going to talk about my wish list, which is definitely not as long as it was in my last video, my last wish list video, which was from a few months ago. I can link that down below. I did get a couple things off that wish list before the end of the year. So for this year, my wish list has 3 things on it, and one of them is kind of already in the works. You'll see. But anyway, the first big one is a Saint Laurent handbag. I only have one Saint Laurent item. It is a card holder, which I really like. Granted, I don't use it very often, but I really love it. It is in the red color. I'll put a picture up here, and I don't use card holders that often unless I'm carrying a really small handbag, and then I often reach for the Gucci one, but I've used the YSL one too. The main thing about this handbag goal is I'm not sure which handbag I want. I like quite a few of them, but I really want to go into a boutique and be able to try it on and put my things inside and make sure that it really is the bag I want to buy. Because for so long, I have only been able to do online shopping, which is very convenient, but there are certain things about it that I really don't like because you cannot hold the bag, try it on. I don't have access to luxury boutiques where I live. The closest ones are in Seattle, or even farther from Seattle in Bellevue, and that is just an entire day and a big hassle. So I really don't. I've only been over there once. I went over in May. So my family and I are taking a trip this spring to San Diego, and we're going to go to the zoo, and we're going to have a great time. It's going to be our first vacation in a couple years. It'll be the first time my girls have been on an airplane, and so we're really excited to finally be able to take a trip. And in San Diego, there's a humongous shopping center that has all of these luxury boutiques that I, don't get to see in person. So one of my plans for vacation is to be able to take a couple hours on my own and just wander through all these different shops and be able to see these things in person. For many people, that's not a big deal. Maybe they live in a city where you can just, go there on an afternoon. But not me. So my goal, one of my goals in my wish list, is to visit the Saint Laurent boutique in San Diego and choose a new handbag. It's very simple. The other item on my wish list is a pair of designer sunglasses, probably Gucci. And again, I would really love to be able to try them on first. With sunglasses, it's even harder. You just have no idea how they will look on your face and what you'll think of them in person. So I don't think that the Macy's where I live is going to carry Gucci or Fendi sunglasses. I doubt it. Our mall is pretty sad and generally doesn't have very much that I'm interested in. So I don't really want to buy sunglasses online either because the chance of returning them is very high. So again, that's another thing I'd like to do when we take our vacation this spring. The third item on my wish list is a Louis Vuitton pencil case. I love pens, I love pencils, I love writing, I love letter writing and journaling, and so I have a pretty big collection of different kinds of writing instruments, and I thought it would be just awesome to have a pencil case that is very special to store them in and carry them in. So that's on my wish list too, and that's pretty much it. And why my wish list is so small has a lot to do with some of my goals for this year. I divided my list of goals for 2022 into a few subcategories. The first category is consumption. This year, my intention is to do a low buy year, and you'll hear this a lot in the luxury community on YouTube, especially in January. A low buy year, a no buy year, and that just means you are setting very strict limits on what you're purchasing for the year. And it's not easy for some people. I probably spent way too much last year, and so my goal this year is to reduce that by quite a bit. I am limiting myself to one new bag, luxury bag, and that will be the Saint Laurent bag, one pre-loved bag, and that will probably be Louis Vuitton, and one SLG, which will probably also be pre-loved. And that's it. So, and of course the sunglasses. So that's like an accessory. That is pretty much it. And I guess the pencil case would fall under SLGs. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm keeping it very small because honestly, I don't have room for a bunch more stuff. And that's another one of my goals, is to sell a few things to not only declutter and make room, but also to take the money and put it into savings instead of just funneling it straight into another purchase. Let's see if I can do that. The big overarching goal is to save money instead of spending money. And so, saving for our vacation, saving for some house projects we have coming up. We want to build a workshop shed type building in our backyard, like an extra detached office type building that we can work, my husband can work on his different, projects in, or I can store things in. So that's going to be a big expense. And so, I am trying to really be mindful and focus on cutting out unnecessary spending, and that's going to also include cosmetics and jewelry and fast fashion. Those are things I intend to cut out. I have enough jewelry. I have enough makeup. I don't really wear makeup that often. I wear it for my videos sometimes and for going out, but if it's just a normal, regular day at home, I usually wear nothing except maybe some lip balm, because that's just how I am. Anyway, so those are my consumption goals. What do you think? Are you also doing a no-buy year or a low-buy year, or setting limits, or creating a wish list? I saw a great video the other day by Hannah, who does Hello Catwalk City. She talked about how she does not create wish lists, and I'm looking forward to her going further into that. I think she's going to hopefully make another video talking about wish lists and how she feels about them. I would love to know your thoughts on goals and wish lists and setting limits for yourself on spending throughout the year, and if you're able to stick with it and how you stick with it. I have another category of goals, which is fitness and self-care. My goal is to maintain my level of fitness through consistent, mindful eating habits that I developed over last year. I don't think I've mentioned on my channel before, but last summer I used a weight loss program called Noom that I started in June, and my goal was to lose, my goal was to lose 20 pounds, and I ended up losing like 22 pounds over 20 weeks approximately. And I was super skeptical when I started because I'd never used a weight loss program before, ever. I'd always just kind of just done it on my own or whatever. And also I'd never paid attention to calories before, or paid attention to how many calories something had in it. And that's how I got myself in the position I was in. So that was new for me, but I was really skeptical. I didn't think it would work, but I just, stuck with it every day, and it wound up being something that really worked for me. And so I'm going to, in 2022, stick with some of the habits that I learned through that program, which, for me, it worked great. I walk my dogs daily, 30 to 45 minutes every day. I'm going to stick with that. It really helps my mental health as well as my physical health to be able to get outside and be in nature and be in fresh air. Treadmills are not for me. I know that they are great for other people because maybe you live in a city where walking is not as possible. It's not as walker friendly. A lot of cities are like that, unfortunately. I live in a kind of a small town though, and we have a pretty walkable area, either neighborhoods or woods and trails and stuff like that. So I'm really fortunate to have that. So I'm gonna walk outdoors every day, which I did pretty good with last year. I'm going to be more consistent with daily journaling. I've been keeping a journal for years and years and years, but sometimes I go through periods where I just don't journal for weeks, and I always feel kind of guilty about that, like I'm abandoning my journal, which, it's helpful for me to write things down. Even if I don't go back and read it ever, just the act of writing it down helps me work through things sometimes. Another goal is I use Goodreads, and my goal this year is to read 45 books. My goal last year was 40, and I was able to reach that goal literally on the last day of the year. I finished my 40th book, and I didn't know if I was going to make it, and so I don't know why. It was just like a struggle, but I think I kept picking books that were just either really long or took me a while to get through. So my goal is 45 books. I hope I can find 45 books that I really want to read. I'm also hoping that I will be a better pen pal this year. I was a terrible pen pal last year. I still have letters from I think the summer that I haven't written back to, and that's really not okay. I used to be much better about letter writing. I set up a letter writing club in my town when I worked in a stationery shop here, and we would meet once a month and just, show each other our cool stationery and pens and write letters, and it was really fun. And that went away after the pandemic, but I still tried to keep up my correspondence, but last year for some reason it just completely fell off a cliff, and I'm going to get back into it. If you'd like to write me a letter or a card, my P.O. box is listed in the description box down below, and I will do my best to write back because I'm trying to attain this goal. Finally, the next category is professional goals or hobbies or whatever, and that has to do with this channel. I started my channel in August of last year. I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't know if it would turn into anything. I didn't know if I would keep doing it. And I just decided to just let it be what it is and not take it too seriously. And I still don't think I'm taking it too seriously, but I do really like it, so I want to keep doing it. And I really, really appreciate everyone who has subscribed to my channel, who has commented on my videos, who has watched my videos. I'm still shocked and flattered that people enjoy this. I was not expecting that, and so I set a goal for myself to grow my channel to double my subscribers to 500 and by the end of the year. And I don't think I think I'll be able to achieve that. And so my high-end goal is 1,000 subscribers, which I know will be more difficult. However, I recently watched Sophie Shohat's video about goal setting and making vision boards, and it really inspired me. And one of the things she said was to just dream big and set a goal that you really want, and don't lowball yourself, and just write it down, because that will manifest it for you somehow. Hopefully that's true, and I do believe in that. If you set goals and set intentions and create methods to achieve those goals, they will come to you much more easily than if you just hope it happens or wish something will happen and just leave it there. So yes, I'm going to try to grow my channel. I'm going to try to create an uploading schedule so that, you know, videos are coming out on a regular basis instead of kind of randomly like now. I want to try more vlogging because it's really fun. I still have to think of things I can vlog though, because, you know, I live in a sleepy little town, so I'll come up with something. Yeah, and finally, I want to try to seek out a life coach here where I live and have a meeting or two with a life coach to try to determine a path into the future for me as to what I will be doing with myself, especially as my kids are getting older. And that has to do with my career and, you know, where I want that to go. My career before this, and I've never talked about this, is I was a web developer. I worked for Gap.com, The Gap, for 9 years on their website as a web developer, front-end web developer and designer. And I worked for the Seattle Times newspaper website before I had kids, and that was my job. And then I had kids and stayed home with them because that was really, really important to me. Not to mention the fact that the commute would have been impossible. So, because I live pretty far from Seattle, so I had to take a ferry, and it was like kind of a nightmare commute when I was doing that. And so I stayed home, and then fairly recently I got back into work. I got back into working, and I was working on smaller websites for smaller businesses, and then I started working at a stationery shop, and then COVID happened. I lost my job at the stationery shop because they closed, and then when they reopened, they kind of gave my job to the owner's daughter, and you know, that's understandable because I was at home anyways, because then the kids were home and I had to do homeschooling or whatever that was. So the kids were home for a long time because the schools were closed. And so everything just kind of stopped for me. So the biggest goal I think I have this year is to get back into some kind of steady, probably work from home type of job, doing either web development or even copy editing, because I'm certified in copy editing too. And so there's all kinds of things you can do from home. And so that is what I'm hoping to do. So those are my goals. And thanks for watching. I would love to know, again, like if you've set any goals for this year and what you think of it. And yeah, so that's about it. I appreciate everyone's support. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I have a number of videos coming out this month. Some of them are exciting unboxing videos. People love that, and that's coming up soon. I'll talk about that in my next video. I have some collaborations coming up, which is exciting. And so please stay tuned, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.